What's up, everybody? So we now know who Anthony Joshua is facing on August 12th, and it is Robert Helenius. So is it a great fight? No. Is it a good fight? Probably not. But it is a fight, and that's exactly what Joshua needs, especially working with Derrick James. It'll be his second fight underneath Derrick James. So it'll be good for him to get another one under his belt before going in there with the Bronze Bomber, because, you know, that's pretty much said and done. It's going to be happening, it seems like, in January time frame. So I'm not mad at this matchup, especially with the time frame that they were presented with. Dillian Whyte popping again, and going to let that play out however it plays out. Dillian Whyte put out his statement about it. Not going to say he's guilty or not, because honestly, none of us know. None of us know exactly what the circumstances behind it are, so we can all jump out there and try to make jokes about it. I'm not going to be that person. But to focus on Joshua Helenius, I think Joshua should get him out of there. I expect him to get out of there within the first 5 rounds. I'll be surprised if he doesn't. Even if he has things to work on, I just think the Nordic Nightmare is there to be hit. He's going to be right there in front of him. He's going to come to fight, and that's going to leave some opportunities for Joshua to finish him. But I want to talk about the cards in general and the multiple cards and what we got in store for this weekend, y'all. I know I do my top 5 under 5 on Sundays, where that's more of a recap. But let's just talk about what we got going on. So boxing is delivering this weekend, y'all. Even if it's not Joshua Helenius, you still have that as an appetizer. And I say an appetizer because it's heavy duty. They're labeling it heavy duty because you got nothing but heavyweights basically on the undercard. The Hrgovic-McKean fight is probably the fight I'm most interested in, because if Hrgovic wins that fight, he's going to get the winner between Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois, because the IBF is up next. So Hrgovic will get that opportunity, depending on who wins that fight, which is coming up a couple weeks. It's only a couple weeks away. So that's going to be clarity for him, and they're fighting around the same time, so that's good. However, let's say if Usyk wins. If Usyk wins, I guess if Dubois wins as well, we might get undisputed. But my thing is, Hrgovic, I don't believe will take step aside. And we know how the IBF rolls. The IBF is going to be like, nah, my man deserves this title shot, so you got to drop the belt, especially if you fought Ngannou as the WBC champion. No, you got to drop the belt. It's time for him to get his opportunity. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But anyway, you got Hrgovic-McKean, Chisora Washington, Johnny Fisher going for his first title against Armstrong. So that's the Joshua Helenius card. And then we got on the night, Navarrete and Valdez. So Emmanuel Navarrete and Oscar Valdez, man, that should be a war, man. That should be a war. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be an entertaining fight. You have prospects like Emiliano Vargas and Richard Torres Jr. also on there. That Landolfo Delgado, who's been at obscurity for the longest time. You know, he was a prize signing by them, a talented fighter, but he hasn't really been that active. So it'd be interesting if they can really kind of speed him up, especially in the super lightweight division. And then you got Raymond Muratalla, who's right on the verge of his own title shot at lightweight. So you have definitely some fighters to watch and to keep an eye out, especially on that Emmanuel Navarrete, Oscar Valdez card. And we also at night on that Saturday, there's a PBC Showtime card with Emmanuel Rodriguez versus Melvin Lopez for the IBF World Bantamweight title. And they also got Gary Antoine Russell on that card against Kent Cruz. So those are the main two that I'm looking for. But PBC also has a prospect on that card in Trayvon Marshall. So Trayvon Marshall is going against Gabriel Maestri. I might be saying that name wrong, excuse me. And that's a welterweight fight. But I want to get a look at Trayvon Marshall. I don't remember too much about him. You know, you watch so many fights, sometimes they start blurring together, but he does not stand out to me. And I know he's a prospect of theirs, so I definitely going to be watching that and see how he looks. Jesse Hart is also going to be on that card. So we'll see if he's on the televised version, because they really talk about Jose Benavidez Jr. more than a Jesse Hart. So we'll see how that goes. But Jose Benavidez Jr., Marcus Brown will also be back on that card, and Michael Angeletti. So there are a few names to watch on that card. Also on Friday night, which I didn't mention, don't forget, you got Overtime Boxing. So Overtime Boxing, like I mentioned before, is going to have a card every Friday this month. Last Friday, we saw Elijah Pierce get the job done with a 3rd round KO over Magic Mike Plania. And this Friday, we're going to see Albert Bell in a super featherweight fight. But what I'm really looking forward to, I like watching the women fight. So Stephanie Chavez, and that's one thing I like about these overtime cards. They seem to always have at least one women's bout. So we'll see if they keep that up all month. But Stephanie Chavez, that's a fighter I've never seen fight. So you're going to get an opportunity to see her in the ring as well. She's 2-0 at the super flyweight. She'll be fighting Devani Cuevas Torres, who's 2-4-1. Stephanie Chavez is 2-0 at the moment. But also on this card, you got Giovanni Marquez and Raul Solomon, and they'll be fighting on that card as well. But my thoughts, and just to wrap everything up for this one, I don't mind the Joshua fight. I think Helenius was a good option based on what they had. I'm just going to enjoy the action that we have this weekend. I'm going to expect Joshua to knock him out. If he goes the distance with Helenius, I will be disappointed. And I definitely will put that on my top 5 under 5 because I would be surprised. Joshua should knock this guy out. He should be knocking Helenius out. That's right. I said what I said, and I stand by that. He should knock Helenius out. So that is an expectation in this fight. If he doesn't, that's not a good look. Just the bottom line. That's just not a good look. Especially when you got Wilder dispatching him real quick. He goes the distance with you. It's just not a good look, even going into the Wilder fight. But I do expect him to knock him out, and then he'll go on and face Wilder, and the hype will begin. And man, I want an all-access type 2-episode run for Joshua Wilder, or Wilder Joshua, however you want to say it. I definitely need an all-access, something of that nature for that, because they do a great job. You guys see that epilogue? You guys see the epilogue? I'm squirreling right now, but y'all see that epilogue? That epilogue was nice, man. They do a great job. Showtime does a great job with that all access. But anyway, I'm squirreling. Enjoy the fights this weekend, y'all. There's plenty of them to enjoy. Don't miss out. Catch them on replay if you can't catch them live. I'll catch y'all later on the top 5 under 5. I also have a watch list. So if you haven't checked out my watch list, go check it out. I have Gabriella Fundora up next, but I do have others. I have Tycee Gallagher. I have Chloe Watson. And it's not me talking. All it is presenting you the information. So you can't just turn it on and listen. You have to watch. And then I'll just put some of the things that I noticed watching those fighters. It gives you their record. It gives you what division they're in. It gives you where they are in the rankings based on BoxRec. I'm basing it on BoxRec. It lets you know who their team is. And I just point out some things that I saw that I liked about the fighter. I don't critique and say, oh, this fighter stinks at doing this. You know, I'm just pointing out some things that I like. And hopefully then you add them to your personal watch list. And if you see them on, or you know that they're fighting, you'll check them out, or you'll give them a follow. Let's support these fighters. I support boxing. I appreciate y'all stopping in. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.